Well, I've had my tax valuation protest hearing with the Appraisal Review Board.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
And they ruled in my favor. Ah, yes, just like Hannibal Smith.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I'm Tracy Thomason. I'm a realtor at Exit Realty here in Lubbock. And yes, this is very exciting. This is really good news for me. Because of this protest and being successful with it, I've saved myself $523.65 on my property taxes for the coming year. And yes, I know what you're thinking right about now. Whoopity-doo! That's great for you, Tracy, but how does this help me?
Well, I have a microphone.
So I'm going to use this microphone and I'm going to explain exactly how I did it. And I'm also going to try not to throw in any more random movie clips, but no promises on that one. Step one is to review the comparable sales data. Now, the Central Appraisal District is going to give you their list of comparable sales that they used in order to determine the valuation of your particular property. Review this list carefully. It's going to have a lot of information on it, including things like the size of the home, amenities of the home, like does your home versus the homes that they're comparing to, do they have fireplaces? How many garage spaces do they have? Things like that. So look at that information very carefully. It's not always exactly accurate. The Central Appraisal District isn't going into people's homes and seeing, do they have a fireplace or not? On 3 of the properties that were used for the comparison to my house, they had small details that were wrong, but those small details added up to a sizable amount of money that worked out in my favor as far as the valuation went. 2 is to review the condition of the comparable properties. If you think your property is in better or worse condition than those that were provided by the Central Appraisal District in their comparable sales document, I did because we intentionally bought a property that needed to be renovated. So ours was in worse condition, I felt like. You're going to need photos of those comparable properties on the inside to examine their condition. And to do that, you're going to need to get a hold of your favorite realtor and get a list of those properties from the multiple listing system, the MLS. This information is something that the appraisal district just can't see. They can see the outside of a house, and they're using an AVM in order to generate the valuation of your particular property, but they're not looking at the condition of the insides of those houses. They're not checking to see if they have granite countertops, if they have updated tub surrounds, if they're falling apart. They're just not looking at that information. But that's something that your favorite realtor can help you find out. When I was doing the comparison on our property versus the ones provided by the Central Appraisal District, one of the main things that I focused on was the word quality. This is an item that was listed in the comparable sales sheet that the Central Appraisal District used. I focused on the quality, the difference in quality between the comparable sales provided by the Central Appraisal District and the condition of our particular property. In the list of comparable sales as provided by the Central Appraisal District, I found that nearly every property in that list had updated kitchen countertops, granite countertops. They had updated bathroom countertops, new vanities, new tub surrounds, updated flooring. These were all things that our property did not have. Our property still had original tub surrounds, original countertops, original flooring from the 1970s. And so this was a very easy thing for me to draw a very distinct comparison to. These properties that were used to estimate the value of our house, these had all been updated, and our house needs updated. It did not have those things. And these are all things that an appraiser would take into consideration if they went into the house. So like when you're buying a house and you're getting a loan, you're going to get an appraisal on it, and the appraiser is going to take a good look at the property and see, has it had these types of updates? So that's something that an appraiser would take into consideration, but the appraisal district, since they're not going into the houses, they're not going to take that into consideration. Step 3 is to gather your evidence. I spent about 3 hours gathering all of the evidence for my appraisal review board hearing and printing it out. Now, you can also take it in on a jump drive if you would rather not print it out, which I also did just in case I needed it. You're going to need to prove your analysis to the ARB, and that's where your evidence comes in handy. Something to keep in mind is you might need to have 2 copies. If you're going to print it out, you might need to have 2 copies of your evidence, because you're going to have to provide one, give one over to the Appraisal Review Board, and you might need one to speak from as you're providing your statements. Again, that's what I did. Step 4, present your information and focus on the facts. Like I said before, I chose to focus on the difference in quality, in that word quality that was on the Appraisal Review Board's comparable sales sheet. The properties that were used for the comparable sales against our property, those all had the updated tub surrounds, the updated countertops. These are things that we're going to add to our property, but they're not there yet. It's something that I'm planning to put in, and I'm working on it, but I'm slow. And so it's going to take a while before I can get it to that state. Every piece of evidence that I provided focused on the word quality, except for those 3 properties that I mentioned before that had small errors in the data sheet. And then I provided that information as well as a part of the defense for why I thought the Appraisal Review Board should lower the estimated appraisal value of our property. Step 5, well, it's really not a step. It's just some things to not do. A list of don'ts. You're going to want to avoid making statements like,
Rent, it's too damn high.
Or rather, the taxes are too damn high. And you may think that taxes are too damn high. That may be your opinion. But that's not something the Appraisal Review Board is going to take into consideration. They're really only interested in one thing.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Okay, I just had to squeeze in one final movie clip. And that's the whole process. Take a look at the comparable sales as provided by the Appraisal Review Board. Gather your evidence so that you can draw a distinction between your property and the comparable sales properties that the Central Appraisal District provided. Gather the evidence necessary to present your case and present it in a factual format. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video series. I hope you have good luck protesting your taxes too.